Which land vehicle is actually the most useful? Starfield now has 3 free land vehicles and a growing collection of paid creation vehicles. But before spending any real money on the creations, maybe one of these free vehicles is all you need. This is the new Moon Jumper, easily hitting Starfield's artificial height limit with nearly half of its fuel still in the tank. But is it the best vehicle overall? Hi, I'm Ram Nexus. I tested and compared the Rev 8, the Daymog and the Moon Jumper for vertical boost, speed, lethality, terrain traversal, turning circle and protection. Because it's a baseline test, I didn't use any vehicle handling mods. My professional stunt driver Dave is at the wheel and is gonna help me with these tests. Say hi, Dave. Jesus, Dave. Right, let's go. We'll start with the most obvious difference, vertical boost. I timed each vehicle's vertical boost until the boost fuel ran out or the vehicle hit Starfield's artificial height limit. If it hit the limit, I checked how much fuel was still left in the tank. The Rev 8 was Starfield's original surface vehicle. It introduced us to what we now think of as the standard rover feature set. Forward boost, jump, headlights, a turret, a horn, and room for a companion, be they human or robot. But the Rev 8's vertical boost now feels, very first generation, shall we say. It runs for just under 2 seconds before the vehicle crashes back down to Earth, or back down to, Jemison. The Daymog is the Deimos-made heavy rover. It has an enclosed cabin and a more military vehicle design. The vehicle looks heavier and more capable, but its vertical boost is only slightly better than the Rev 8. It lasts about 2.1 seconds, useful for clearing small obstacles, but not enough to change how you explore. The Moon Jumper is Stroud-Eklund's experimental long-range expeditionary rover. This test showed it's more than an oversized rover, but a true exploration vehicle. With vertical boost enabled, the Moon Jumper kept going and going and going. It reached the game's artificial ceiling after 18 seconds of vertical lift and still had about 14% boost fuel remaining. You having fun up there, Dave? Dave? That extra boost changes traversal in a major way. You can clear rough ground, scout landmarks, cross gaps, and avoid packs of creatures very easily. Basically, you can use the boost as a practical exploration tool rather than just for short hops. So the winner is the Moon Jumper by a high margin. Speed. To test speed, I needed a straight stretch of flat surface. However, Starfield doesn't have a lot of them, so I had to buy one. I used a stretch of highway in New Atlantis, provided by the Galactic Highway Network paid creation. It's an interesting creation actually. It adds highways to a few cities in the game. Note it doesn't modify vehicle performance at all. I just used it to give me this nice straight drag strip. Each vehicle started from the same point and I stopped the clock when it hit the far wall. So this test is a comparison of relative acceleration, I guess, and speed over a set distance, so it's not an official top speed measurement. The Daymog was the fastest, hitting the far wall in 23.2 seconds, so a clear winner. The Rev 8 finished in 30.4 seconds. The Moon Jumper was the slowest at 32.3 seconds, so it is slower, but not by much. I'd say it feels slower than it actually is, but that might be just due to its size. Having a fast vehicle helps with exploration, but it has limits. I found most of Starfield's planets rarely give you clean stretches of ground for long, but the improved acceleration means you can regain lost momentum very quickly. So the speed winner, the Daymog. Armour. This protection appears to be combat damage reduction, not environmental protection. It's a shame the enclosed Daymog and Moon Jumper cabins do not seem to provide any hazard protection. Anyway, the Rev 8 has 25% armor protection, the Daymog has 60%, the Moon Jumper is the highest at 65%. Weapons. All three rovers have a turret, which can really help soften up enemies before getting up close. And all three let you mine resources from the comfort of your vehicle. You've still got to get out and collect liquids and gases manually though, like some bloody caveman. Go on, Dave, get out there, do your job. The Rev 8 has a laser turret. It fires 8 shots before recharging, and the recharge is fast. It's easy enough to aim, but only really useful against low-level enemies as its damage is low. Its baseline damage per second score is 54, which is the weakest of the three. The Moon Jumper uses an energy weapon as well. It also fires 8 shots for a fast recharge. Its baseline DPS is 74, so it improves over the Rev 8, but not that much. Okay, now we're talking. The Daemog. It's fitted with a rocket launcher, which very effectively delivers the good news to enemies downrange. It fires 10 rockets before cooldown, but cooldown is a lot slower than the recharge on the other vehicles. The trade-off is much higher damage. Its DPS is 262.5, which makes it by far the most lethal turret here. Just note those DPS numbers I mentioned are the baseline values. If you sink points into certain character skills, turret performance can be improved. The Daemog's rocket launcher is less precise than the other turrets, I'd say, but its damage advantage is substantial. So the winner for lethality is the Daemog. Turning Circle. I just eyeballed Turning Circle by getting stunt driver Dave to fang a few donuts down the parking lot. Sorry, I mean on the launch pad. It's not scientific, but it was consistent enough to allow a good comparison. Despite its huge tyres and long wheelbase, the Moon Jumper made nice tight donuts, the same size as the smaller Rev 8 actually. For something this bulky, the Moon Jumper is surprisingly agile. Anyway, gotta love a bit of tyre squeal. The Daemog is a different story. Its turning circle was larger, which was a bit surprising. But to be honest, it didn't translate to how it felt to control when driving on rough terrain, so perhaps don't read too much into it. Terrain Traversal. Your vehicle's speed and weaponry are important when exploring, but the biggest factor is how well a vehicle handles Starfield's cluttered terrain. Planets and moons are uneven, rocky and full of obstacles, so smooth driving is rarely possible. Trying to cross rough ground in a vehicle that wants to bounce around like it's at a bloody fun park does suck some of the fun out of the game, I found. For this test, I drove each vehicle across different surfaces, over different obstacles and in different gravities. I got a feel for how they handle, how often they get stuck, how they dealt with collisions, and how quickly they recovered momentum when stopped dead. There are shape casting mods available that change how the wheels detect and climb over smaller obstacles in the game, and those can improve rough terrain driving, I've found, but I didn't use them for this comparison because, of course, the point here is to test how the free vehicles behave in vanilla mode without mods. But let me know if shape casting and other vehicle mods is something that you'd be interested in hearing more about. I find it interesting, quite happy to look into it. The Rev 8 remains useful, but its terrain performance feels kind of basic compared to the other free vehicles, especially the Moon Jumper. It makes planetary travel more fun than walking, but after a while, driving over rough terrain in the Rev 8 feels more like a chore. Medium rocks can stop it dead, and collisions often kill its momentum. On low gravity worlds, it handles poorly, spending too much time off the ground, though I noticed in low grav that small boost it has actually can be quite effective. On smoother ground it's fine, but on most Starfield planets the Rev 8 is just too much work, especially knowing there are better free options available. The Daemog performs better than the Rev 8 over rough terrain, but not dramatically better. It feels heavier and tougher and better able to handle a hit without spinning out of control, but rocky ground and low gravity can still slow it down, and its weak vertical boost only helps with those short hops. It gets you over rough terrain more easily than the Rev 8, but it's still not a hassle-free experience.
Landing achieved. Vehicle suspension and tire pressure appear to be optimal.
However, the Moon Jumper is the clear terrain traversal winner here. Its large wheels, its high clearance and strong vertical boost work well together. It handles rough ground far better than the Rev 8 and Daymog. It rolls over small and medium rocks cleanly, noticeably better. It gets caught on obstacles far less often. Yes, it's the slowest of the three, but in cluttered terrain, which is basically half of Starfield, it spends less time stopped, stuck, or bouncing around, and that makes it far better suited to actual exploration. So, the terrain traversal winner is of course the Moonjumper. So, for the 3 free Bethesda vehicles, the results are clearer than I expected. The Rev 8 is still useful, but now feels a bit dated. Its boost is weak, its armor is poor, its weapon damage is low, and rough terrain can stop it far too easily. Look, if you're a die-hard, retrievable exploratory vehicle lover, that's cool, but can I interest you in test driving one of our heavy rovers? The Daymog Heavy Rover is the best choice if you want speed and firepower. It is the fastest of the three by a clear margin, it has strong armor, and its rocket launcher delivers much more damage than the other two. However, it only has enough vertical boost to let you hop over obstacles, not help you explore from the air. For that, you need the Moonjumper. It's the strongest exploration vehicle here. It is the slowest in a straight line, but only a bit slower than the Rev 8, and it makes up for that with the best terrain traversal. Its vertical boost is excellent. Being able to get up high lets you scout distant landmarks easily. Its main weakness is actually its availability. Locating a bloody defunct broadcasting station where these vehicles are found can be a real time sink. Overall, if you only use the free vehicles, the Daymog is the fastest combat rover and the Moonjumper is the best all-round exploration vehicle. Think of these results as baseline benchmarks we can use to test the paid creations. Any paid creation vehicle worth your money cannot just look different, it needs to beat the Daymog at speed or firepower and beat the Moonjumper at exploration, or offer something unique that changes how you actually play the game. So, in my next video, I'll compare paid creation vehicles. I've already started testing them. We'll see whether paying for a vehicle actually gives you a useful advantage over these 3 free options. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts on Starfield's vehicles, free or otherwise. Subscribe to keep an eye out for more vehicle videos where, as I said, we'll look at some of the paid options. Alright, thanks for watching. Cheers. Ramnexus out.